All right. So thank you for joining us today for our Baddies in Tech Cloud/slash DevOps Night for Ansible. We're going to write our first Ansible playbook. This lab is a little bit on the lengthy side, so we're probably going to break it up into 2 or 3 different sessions, each about roughly about 20 minutes. We don't want to spend the whole 55 minutes on the lab. So I guess the first thing we should probably do is a define Ansible. I figured that would be something that's great for us to do. Hold on 1 second. Okay, just had to make sure my thing was closed. Okay, so I figured we could start most of these by defining some words and things that we're talking about, specifically the technologies, especially for those that are unfamiliar with it, especially when we just go right into it. Okay, so what is Ansible? Ansible is an open source command line IT automation tool, automation software application written in Python. It can configure systems, deploy software, and orchestrate advanced workflows to support application deployment, system updates, and more. Ansible's main strengths are simplicity and ease of use. It also has a strong focus on security and reliability, featuring minimal moving parts. It uses OpenSSH for transport, with other transports and pull modes as alternatives, and uses a human readable language that is designed for getting started quickly without a lot of training. And that is straight. And that is straight from Ansible's website. I'll post this in here in the chat for y'all to take a look at. That is straight from the Ansible website. Just a quick little what is Ansible. All right. And so, we have our definition of Ansible, and the format that it's written in is YAML, which stands for yet another markup language. It's just an easier way. It's easier on the eyes compared to stuff like JSON and whatever other markup languages they have out there. All right, so now that the lab has started, we'll go ahead and get started with that part. Let me go ahead and put it in full screen. Let's see. Ansible works against multiple managed nodes or hosts in your infrastructure at the same time, using a list or group of lists known as inventory. For our first challenge, we're going to create an inventory to be used in the following challenges. The inventory tells what nodes are out there to be used by Ansible, what credentials need to be used to connect to them, how the nodes are grouped, and other necessary variables. An example inventory. So here we can see that we have our user, our password, the port. We have our web servers grouped here in the braces or brackets. We have our databases grouped here with DB in the brackets. And we have a DB1 Ansible host equals and some IP address. So you can kind of see the general structure of what an inventory would look like. Okay, so this part we're working with Ansible Navigator, the inventory and the inventory file. We're gonna go ahead and hit yes on here. I need to change the color so I can see it. I have trouble seeing this white on black text. I can see this one. Perfect. And then I just need to increase the fonts sizing and stuff like that because it's just a little too small for me. Where is it? Font size. We're going to go with 30. And then once we've done that, we'll bring up our command line, configure terminal settings, font. I'm just making this larger. Font. We'll put that at 32 just so we can see it because the text gets tinier, smaller and smaller as life goes on. Okay. Welcome to writing your first Ansible playbook. In the following challenges and tasks, we will guide you on the creation process to get started writing Ansible playbooks. In this challenge, you will learn about Ansible Navigator and create an inventory file for a set of hosts and group them into the group labeled web. All right. So, what is Ansible? Okay, yeah, the font's big. What is Ansible Navigator? Ansible Navigator is a command-based tool for creating, reviewing, and troubleshooting Ansible content. This includes inventories, playbooks, and collections. In the following challenges ahead, you will use Ansible-Navigator to run Ansible playbooks. Okay. Creation of inventory file. The editor tab is open by default. An inventory file is a text file that specifies the nodes that will be managed by the control machine. The nodes to be managed may include a list of host names or IP addresses of those nodes. The inventory file allows for nodes to be organized into groups by declaring a host group name within the square brackets. And that's what we saw on the previous page. We saw that we declared the web server and the database DB1 with those brackets. Then that was our host group name. You'll see one folder labeled Ansible Files in the left pane. This folder will contain our inventory file and future playbooks. Currently, one file residing in the Ansible Files directory is the Ansible Navigator.yml or Ansible Navigator YAML. The Ansible Navigator file contains all of the strings to properly run this lab. Feel free to investigate, but please don't make any changes. Within the Editor tab, open the directory Ansible Files. In that directory, right-click and create a host file. So I'd already opened it when I clicked on it. This is our Ansible Navigator YAML file. It just has information in there for the lab. So let's create our host file, host with an S. And let's see, within the host file, supply the following content. So we have our braces here, our brackets for our host group name, which is web. And then we have these right here, the nodes. So we'll copy, we'll put that in there. And that's in there. Font's nice and big. I'm happy about that. How to use Ansible Navigator. Ansible Navigator comes with an interactive mode by default that allows you to explore the different options. Within this lab, we set the mode of Ansible Navigator to std out, standard out. Within the control tab, change to the Ansible Files directory and run the following commands to get a list of what is available within our directory. So we're going to change directory. Oh, we're already in Ansible Files. So now we'll run this one right here. We'll just copy and paste, use the little thing there because we know that it works. And it says here, if the list is too verbose, the option of grab can be used to provide a more condensed version of list. So you could use list or graph here. Options. In the following challenge, you will familiarize yourself with Ansible Navigator Run command that will allow us to run Ansible playbooks. So we'll go ahead and run that. Okay, we see that it's doing stuff. This is the execution environment. I guess it's setting up our lab for us. Okay, perfect. And we can kind of see what happened based on, we have some JSON here, which is kind of funny. Web hosts node 1 and 2. All right, so we'll hit complete or check. All right, perfect. All right, looks like we have some more definitions here as well, which is great. Playbooks are files which describe the desired configuration or steps to implement on managed hosts. Playbooks can change lengthy, complex administrative tasks into easily repeatable routines with predictable and successful outcomes. A playbook can have multiple plays, and a play can have one or multiple tasks. In a task, a module is called to run an action against. One of the goals of a play is to map a group of hosts. The goal of a task is to implement modules against those hosts. Playbooks are playbooks are text files written in YAML format and therefore need to start with 3 dashes, proper indentation using spaces and not tabs. These are some important concepts. Hosts, the managed host to perform the task on. Tasks, the operations to be performed by invoking Ansible modules and passing them the necessary options. And become, privilege escalation in playbooks. Same as using -b in the ad hoc command. Good playbooks are idempotent. So if a playbook is run once to put the host in the correct state, it should be safe to run a second time and it should make no further changes to the host. It's just a fancy way of saying it won't, no change. Okay. So on this part, we are creating an Apache YAML file, and adding tasks. In this challenge, you will write a playbook that installs Apache on the server. So the editor tab is open by default. Within the editor tab, open the directory Ansible files. Let's bring up our little thing here. In that directory, right click and create a file, apache.yaml. So we're already in our Ansible files directory. We'll go ahead and create our apache.yaml file. Now we're going to define the Apache. We'll hit accept. We wouldn't do this in real life because we would read those, but we're just going to not read it today. It's not our environment. Within the apache.yaml file, supply the following contents: the name, the host, and the become. That was, we looked at that on the previous page. The name is a name given to the play, the host to run the playbook against, and when we use user privilege escalation, sudo with become true. So it's kind of like running as administrator. All right. So now With the play defined, let's add a task to install a package on node 1. We will take advantage of the ansible.builtin.package module to install the Apache package with the latest version. The Apache YAML file can be modified as shown below to incorporate the installation of Apache. So we'll go ahead and make this change to our file here. They really added the name to install the latest version of HTTPD, the state latest. Once we've done our declarations, we start off with a task declaration to incorporate what specific tasks we'd like Ansible to automate. A task is named and the module ansible.builtin.package for the task is referenced. Parameters for the module are added, the name parameter to identify the package name and the state to identify the state, the wanted state. So present, absent, latest of the package. And then we'll hit check. Are there any questions? Is anyone having issues with their lab? All right. In the last challenge, we created the playbook. Now it's time to launch it. We do this with the command Ansible Navigator, one of the central commands of Ansible on the command line. During this task, you might be wondering how Ansible Navigator actually knows where to find the host file. It is configured in the file home Red Hat Ansible Navigator YAML, which was pre-created in this environment. If you have time to look at it, it should be fairly self-explanatory. Home Red Hat Ansible Navigator. All right, let's see. Oh, can we make that bigger? We absolutely can't. Okay, we're gonna go with the tiny text on the screen. In this challenge, you will execute an Ansible playbook from the control node using the Ansible Navigator tool. The first task is to run the Apache YAML Ansible playbook. The control tab is open by default. Within the control tab, change into the Ansible files directory, CD, and we can tab through that. Run the playbook with this command, Ansible Navigator run Apache YAML. So we'll do Ansible, can we tab? Oop. Ansible Navigator, no tab for run, Apache YAML. Okay, the playbook may take a minute or two to complete as it is populating the repository metadata for the first time. Note, -I host option is not required as the Ansible Navigator YAML file has already set the default location of the inventory. The output should not report any errors, but provide an overview of the tasks executed and a play recap summarizing what has been done. All right, so we can see this. It's real small, but trust me, it's on the screen. It's just tiny. Okay, so we have our play Apache server to install the tasks. It's getting the stuff. It's installing the latest version, and the recap, it says node 1 had a change. That's cool. All right. And that's exactly what we have here. There is a built-in task labeled gathering facts that runs automatically at the beginning of each Ansible playbook. It collects information about the managed node. Upcoming challenges will cover this in more detail. All right. Verify Apache installed. The Apache.yaml playbook installs Apache HTTPD package on the host node 1. A simple method to verify the results that the package did indeed install is to use an Ansible ad hoc command to verify the results. And we're going to copy this command and we're just going to paste it in here just like that. We have Ansible node 1. So we selected our node. We have this built-in shell and it looks like it's running that command to check Apache. This uses the module M Ansible built-in shell with module argument A that states run the following command rpm-qi httpd on node 1. The output lists the name, version, and other details about the package. Item potency at work. Run the Ansible playbook a second time and compare the output to the original. You will notice the task change from changed to OK, including colors changing from yellow to green. Additionally, the play recap is different as well, making it easier to spot the changes made by Ansible. So we'll run our command again. That was our Ansible Navigator run Apache YAML. And we will compare that to our first one, which is here. Can I highlight? All right. And we can see, we do see changes. We can see that the task was fine. We see that it shows green because we didn't make any changes when we installed Apache. It was already installed. So it checked and it's like, okay, it's there. And the recap is that everything is okay. Why does this happen? Due to item potency, the Ansible playbook can be run numerous times, but only does it make a change the first time, due to this being the only time that node 1 does not have HTTPD installed. Once the package is installed, Ansible recognizes this and gives a status of OK, letting us know that indeed the package is present. So we'll go ahead and hit check. All right, let's see what the next one is, because these are really long. Yeah, we'll definitely be coming back. Yeah, I think that's 3, and then that would be 3, 4, and that would be like, yeah. Okay, that's what we'll do. So we'll read this page and then we'll call it stops here, and then we'll have like a part 2 or 3 for the rest of it. By default, Ansible executes each task in order, one at a time against all machines, matched by the host pattern. Each task executes a module with specific arguments. When a task has executed on all target machines, Ansible moves on to the next task. When you run a playbook, Ansible returns information about connections, the name lines of all of your plays and tasks, whether each task has succeeded or failed on each machine, and whether each task has made a change on each machine. At the bottom of the playbook execution, Ansible provides a summary of each node that were targeted, of each of the nodes of the nodes that were targeted and how they perform. General failures and fatal unreachable communication attempts are kept separate in the counts. So what do we have here? We're adding an additional task to our run book. So in this challenge, you will extend the Apache YAML Ansible playbook to include additional tasks to complete. So let's see. Within the editor tab, open the file Apache YAML, add the following tasks at the end of the file. Okay. I have doubts. I have a few doubts. That looks, I think that looks better. Yeah, that looks much better. Okay. We're gonna hope that that's what they're asking for. Switch to the control tab and launch the playbook with the corresponding directory. Oh, they wanted us to go here, and I was using this. Well, um, the font here is bigger. We're already in the Ansible files directory, so we can run Ansible. It feels a little laggy on our T2 Nano. Run apache.yaml. Did you notice anything in the output? Okay, I guess I can kind of see why they want us to run it over there because it would be easier to see the output. Okay, let's go into control and we'll run it in this tiny screen. Let's see. It said, oh, we need to change directory to our Ansible files directory and then run our command. We forgot. Okay. So looking good so far. All right. So what do we see here? We see that we still see okays in here, but we see a change, another change for our second task, enable Apache enabled and running. So that's why we have the different numbers here. The first task reports okay, while the second reports the status change. Why? It goes back to item potency. The first task has already completed, but the newly added task has not been done. Verify the status of Apache. Once the Ansible playbook completes successfully, run the following ad hoc command to ensure that the service is indeed running. So we'll go here, and this is the same command we had from the other one. We had the Ansible against node 1 for this built-in package. I forgot the word they used. And then we're pulling out our Apache service. Let's see what it returns. Okay, cool. So our HTTP service is in the state running and the status is enabled. And that's exactly what we wanted to see for that. Perfect. All right. So yeah, this is about where we'll stop because the next one is extending the playbook more. And then we'll come back next week to finish it up. All right. Does anyone have any questions about what we just went over? I have the lab in the thing so you can all like review it whenever, you know, do it on your own as well. All right. Thank y'all for showing up. I really appreciate it. And have a great rest of y'all's nights. Of course, of course. It was no problem. Yeah. I put it in the cloud chat and in the lounge. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, this one is free and it's through their website, and all you have to do is just start the lab. Yes. When will the video for Docker video on Docker YouTube? Oh, yeah, so I'm going to re-record that today. Okay, so the video we did last week for ECS, I realized that recording that is a editing is a lot harder than what I realized. Oh my goodness. And look, I watch YouTube videos all day. That is like so difficult. I spent hours trying to like blur stuff, and like I would get it blurred, right? But then like I would scroll, I noticed that I scroll up and down a lot, so the information would become unblurred. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to re-record it. So I can probably re-record that today since I'm online and stuff. Yeah. It, exactly. Yeah. And I'm gonna try to use what was that? A Cloud Guru instead of my account to record. Think that'll be easier too. Exactly. Right. So yeah. Hmm. Yeah, of course, of course. All right. Thanks for coming. Have a good rest of your night. All right. Bye bye.